Okay, hello everyone. We're really excited to be here and doing this today. Before we start, I'm just going to have to share this live stream into the two Facebook groups. So if you could just bear with me a moment, please. Right now, I can confirm, Stephen, that I'm seeing the live video on my personal profile, and you can see us both. Can you see me now? By the way.
No, I've still got all white, blank white. But it's
Oh,
nice, man. Don't worry. I'll get into a white blank state.
right.
Good. Yeah. It'll clear my mind.
Right. So we're now shared into Amped. We're now shared into the Empower You Energy Healing group, and we'll get going in a moment. Right, I'll just put that down. Okay, let's see what we've got. Right, so as I say, hello everyone. It's my absolute pleasure to be doing this today. Welcome to you all. Allow me to introduce my illustrious guest today. We first connected back in February. My goodness, it seems so long ago now, when I interviewed him, and he's kindly agreed to return today. And right before I do so, today, you're going to learn the main reasons so many of us struggle with our finances and where and how this originates, how to release or heal this aspect and move forward again. We'll undoubtedly be experiencing some barefoot doctor magic with some guided visualizations or techniques in this regard. You'll be introduced to some world class technology, perfectly crafted by my amazing guest, and a chance to experience it for free today. So you'll want to stick around for that. And if that wasn't enough, we'll be announcing a competition with two excellent prizes. And now back to my amazing guest. He's a best-selling author, having written 17 books. Publishers include Hay House. And he now owns his own publishing company. He has nearly 5 decades experience in healing, manifesting, spirituality, particularly Taoism. He's a musician, DJ, producer, and he's right here with us today. We bring you my friend and mentor, the one and only Barefoot Doctor. Welcome, Stephen. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's lovely of you. What a lovely build-up. I hope I can live up to that.
Of course you can. I can't overstate you enough. Like I say, we're really excited to be here. Thank you for joining us. We have 12 viewers online at the moment, which is awesome. Michelle Collingwood saying hi. Kristen saying hi. Angie, hello. Sabrine saying hi. And Christine Ward as well, hello. So we've pulled the group, Stephen, and time and again, the main consideration, the main thing that people struggle with is finances and money. It's almost
Yeah.
at epidemic levels. And I wonder if you could talk to us about, your perspective on why that is. Why is everyone struggling with money and trying to get ahead in life? Why is it important that you can surmount this?
Well, I mean, I think about this a lot, and I could answer it from about 8 million different directions at once. But this is what's coming out this morning. It all obviously relates to your relationship with your parents, their relationship with money, and therefore how they either taught you directly or taught you by default how to relate with money. But it goes back even further than that. So your relationship with your mother as well, actually in the womb, believe it or not, and then as a newborn. Uh, I like looking at these things to start with in the Taoist frame because they really had a really interesting angle on everything. And money is part of the material plane. It equates to what they used to call in the old days cereal, as in that which kept you alive. You grow stuff to eat, and what have you. And that is the element of earth. And in the body, that represents or is represented by the spleen, which is what controls your digestive system, your weight gain, weight loss, flesh tone, strength, stamina, clarity of mind, and so on. And your spleen energy, the, the the strength of your spleen energy and the consistency of it is predicated entirely on the quality and consistency of energy coming to you in the womb from your mother and thereafter as she was breastfeeding you and nurturing you through to toddler stage. And uh, because mothers are all human, it's impossible to have a perfect. Well, it might not be impossible. There might be the rare exception. I'm sure there is, but generally it's going to be a bit broken, a bit intermittent. Things happen during pregnancy. There's traumas. The hormones flip around and cause havoc at the end of the 6 months, at the beginning of the last trimester, and so on. And the mother might be arguing with the father and shouting at each other. It's quite normal, and the baby hears all that in the womb. All of that disrupts spleen energy, and then afterwards, if the mother isn't the most perfect, bountiful, ever, abundant mother type, Mother Earth type mother, and who devotes herself completely to the child, which does happen, but most women can't do that because they've got a life to lead as well. Therefore there will be broken spleen energy in all of us. Therefore, you take it, because what goes on inside occurs outside. It's mirrored back at you by the outside. You will have an intermittent relationship with the material plane and the juice, the energy of the material plane, which is money. That's the first thing to remember. So the point about that is that you can work on kind of making your spleen energy whole, which is the literal meaning of healing. You can heal your spleen energy, and if you have to remind me, I'll do a thing for that, because it's a good thing to do anyway for your health and all the rest of it. Weight gain, weight loss, weight regulation, all of that stuff that you need on the physical plane, strength basically. But it also is the beginning of opening up the right energy channels, if you like, to resonate with the flow of wealth that's going around. So that's the first stage of it, is looking at it energetically. Then you have to look at it. Well, I'm still looking at it energetically, but on a macro level now. What is money? Money is, as we've all seen since the financial crisis, it's proven, it's illusory. It's something we all make up, and miraculously, it is I think the only thing that all of humanity agrees with. I think it's the only thing that all of humanity believes in as a reality. In fact, it isn't. It is just a fantasy that all of humanity believes in, which is miraculous, because what else does all of humanity believe in? The only thing they all believe in is money. There was this really poignant news clip after the NATO, or American and Britain, bombed Baghdad, and it was just I found a rather tragic kind of episode in history. And there was this clip where the Saddam Hussein had gone on the run. He wasn't in power, and the souk in Baghdad all bombed out and everything. And these two old guys trading for whatever they were trading in the market, using Saddam Hussein banknotes, even though the guy wasn't even in charge anymore. In other words, whatever, we will always somehow believe in this mystical thing called money, as much as we will always trade as well, as much as we will always have wars as well, when we're not trading, that is. And so if once you realize that money is this make-believe thing that we've all agreed to believe in, what is it that it is actually representing? Well, it's a symbol of energy, measures of energy that is exchanged between two parties. And it's very difficult sometimes to kind of evaluate the kind of the give and take of it all, the reciprocity and the keeping it equilibrated. Which is why you have law and why you have people falling out and so on and so forth. But overall, we tend to also agree in terms of that as well. Like if somebody's going to charge $200 for a hotel room for the night, if that's their fee, then and you want to stay in a hotel, that's what you pay. But what you're doing is you're actually, by pressing a couple of buttons and whatever and making a few digits move around, it shows how mystical and imaginary it all is, really. By clicking a few digits around here and there, you're exchanging this imaginary kind of measure of energy. You're giving the hotel people energy, and their energy is providing the space and all the stuff that goes with it, and so on. And it's an incredibly elaborate, complex dynamic if you consider each and every millisecond, the billions of transactions, and not just the transactions, but all the bits and pieces that come off every transaction that are going on. I mean, all the time without ceasing. It's phenomenal. Now, what that means is that there's this massive energy moving around the collective, and you're somehow able to kind of guide it in through a series of starts off with a thought. With everybody, it doesn't matter if you're into manifesting or not, it always starts off with a thought. It's like, I need money. And that relates to, let me just go back to the mother thing.
Yeah.
I need to suck on the breast. I've got to suck that. I'm starving, hungry. I've got to suck on the breast. I'm terrified. I'm on this planet. I don't know where I am. I've just been born. I've got to suck on the breast. That's the same as I've got to have more money. I've got to have the money. It's good to know that, because that helps you realize that it's not actually as desperate as you've got to have the breast. It's like, you will get the money. Like, you'll get the breast. You will generally get given the breast. You will get given the money. You have to stop me if I'm going on too much.
No, it's the most comprehensive way I've heard this topic discussed, to be honest. You're bringing in other elements, so please continue, yes.
Oh, thank you. It starts with the thought that I need money. Then comes my relationship with this imaginary kind of thing called money that's actually the force of energy. My relationship with energy, my relationship with existence, really, isn't it? I mean, energy is existence. So it's imagine yourself a newborn baby knowing nothing. The only thing you have is this relationship with existence. It's complete. That's all you're aware of, is this. And it's not in words. You don't have words yet. You can't frame it in logic. It's, wow, that I am here in existence, and existence becomes the mother, because that's all there is for you at the beginning. And the mother is the universe. And then how you are with your mother will be then how you will be with the world, because you project that onto the world. So if your mum was a bit impatient, you'll have the feeling, which most mums will be. It only takes one impatient moment to stick in the baby's mind forever and cause a pattern. And everyone's human, so mothers mustn't blame themselves for being impatient either. But what will happen is that if that is the message the baby kind of somehow gets, you will believe that the world is impatient with you. It's impatient about giving you money. So it hasn't really got time for you. Look, I really need some money. Oh, no one's listening to me. No one's listening. Please, me. I need that. No, shut. I haven't got time for you. I haven't got time for you. So there'll be that feeling of, I have this. Look, it doesn't. It's that thing. Or if you were left to, there was a thing called Dr. Spock, a man called Dr. Spock, who had this way that women should only feed the baby every 4 hours, and otherwise leave it to cry, and don't comfort it, don't go pick it up, and so on. I was brought up like that way. It's a bit brutal, but it did work, man. I think it was pretty good. It makes you start thinking for yourself. It wakes you up well. But then there'll be that feeling of, you've got to be kind of disciplined and wait. You're going to have these periods where there's just nothing happening, and it's going to come. But you better know it's going to come. And then, sure enough, bang on the dot, bang, here it comes. So I will then have this kind of interesting relationship with it, with the ebb and the flow of this energy. Where now I understand that that's my cycle. That it will go like 4 times going out, and then suddenly on the 5th beat, it's whoosh, and it all comes back. And that could take a long time. But in the going out, I don't starve. It's not like I die of starvation because I haven't been fed yet. I've been fed regularly enough that I'm all right. So I know I'm all right. So that's my relationship with it. If, for example, and then, look, let me just go on one more here, because that's the early stuff. You then move on to, say, I don't know, 7 years old, 8 years old. Daddy, I really want a skateboard. Daddy, I really want this skateboard. Daddy, you can't have it. Because you can't afford it, or whatever, or you don't deserve it, or why should you have a skateboard? I didn't have a skateboard like that when I was young. It's a ridiculous price. I work, blah, 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 blah. So then you get that, I don't really get what I asked for. If I ask for things that I really want with my heart, I'm suddenly made to feel bad about myself, and I get this horrible, desolate feeling. And if that becomes a pattern, you'll project that, not as deeply, it's more superficialist, but you'll project that onto the world and the way the energy comes to you. So there'll be that feeling of like, it's going to let me down. I'm just going to get, shortchanged here. So the reason I'm saying all this is because you asked me what are the patterns, but the point is what we'll talk about next. Once I've given you a moment to talk here, sir. It is that we can, by observing these patterns in us, by acknowledging them, seeing them and observing them, and I'll show you how to do that quite clearly, it diffuses the compulsive aspects of them, and then you're left with options. And the option would then be, okay, I'm willing to override that or put that to one side, and anyway manifest a flow of money coming to me, because that's what we've got to do. That's the way it works. Over to you.
Yeah, that's some fantastic insights there, Stephen. And as you say, once you recognise what your patterns are, then that's the first step in being able to change them. As I say, you brought together in so many things there, from the womb stage and being such a young infant, breastfeeding and the like. Um, my my next sort of question would be, what would you what would you say to somebody who's struggling with money right now? There's so many people seem to be, they might be wondering where the next paycheck's coming from, or whatever it might be. What would your best advice, what would your best encouragement or insight, wisdom be for these, that person?
Well, I mean, my first thing, and I would have said this before when you mentioned it, but this is really obvious, is that this whole issue of struggling in general, that's a mode that we choose to adopt, which runs counter to this Taoist way of doing things. So, with struggling with money, you could just be dancing with it, dancing with, like when I was talking about money as being this kind of, it's this force of energy moving around. Let's anthropomorphize it and sort of imagine it as the dinner lady, the beautiful, sexy dinner lady that I talk about in the Tao of Manifesting book. This kind of image of, in England, you have the dinner lady who serves you the food at lunchtime at school. And often they were just really grouchy. I don't blame them. But I have this fantasy. So therefore, I created a fantasy of the sexy dinner lady. I actually met one in real life, believe it or not, recently, rather. It was a friend of mine. But actually, really lovely, bountiful, sexy, beautiful, healthy, wonderful, generous dinner lady. And you ask her for anything, she goes, "Of course, darling, you can have more. Don't worry. Here, there's more. There's more." So your relationship with money can be a dance with that. It's all how you see it. So if you're struggling with life, life will struggle back. If you let go and go, "Okay, life, I trust you. Okay, dinner lady, I trust you. Let's dance together instead. I'm a bit awkward and a bit clumsy because I've been a bit all struggling and everything. But if I loosen up, let's have a good dance here, because that would be a lot more fun." Now, what that means is you've got to stop being so precious about the fear that you have about inconvenience. Because what happens if you don't have money is you have inconvenience, which is inconvenient, but that's actually all it is. And I'm not hypocritical. I'm the same. I have a fear of inconvenience myself. But what happens is that the more you can let go of that, the more you realize it's only inconvenience. And if it's meant to be this way, where I couldn't get the taxi and I had to get the bus, which meant I had to walk carrying all these things and whatever, there's a reason for it. It means I'll meet someone or see a view that I wouldn't have seen, or see a sign that I wouldn't have seen, or whatever, or just have a kind of a process I wouldn't have had otherwise. And it will be good for me. It will make me stronger. And that's kind of the way you've got to be with it. Because like whatever inconvenience has caused me, and they could be quite severe. If you were on medication, saying you had to buy medication, you couldn't afford to buy the medication, you could get ill, whatever. I do get that. I get the severity of it, but it's like, okay, it's inconvenience, and I'm up for that. I'm not going to even let that. I'm not even that. It's not going to defeat me. Nothing is going to stop me feeling this innate delight at being alive. Well, it doesn't matter what. If you can develop that warrior spirit, and then go, okay, so I'm kind of prepared for the worst anyway, so I can relax about it a bit. You go through the whole thing. Most of the fear of not having money is what other people are going to think of you, your partner, your friends, your colleagues, your sort of bigger imagined society. Like, "Oh, what a loser, what an idiot, you're out, you're no good, we don't talk to you anymore." It's the fear of that is the most of it. Other than that, it's the fear of inconvenience. So if you can get over the fear of what other people are going to think of you, I mean, bearing in mind, people are concerned with themselves. They don't really care about the other person. So they might have a moment to go, "What an idiot," and then it will be forgotten. Yeah, that's going to be difficult for your reputation, but you can redeem that. If you're the real thing, you'll come back, So getting out, like being able to face even that. All right, they all think I'm the biggest, fool in the world. So what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You get past all of that stuff. The fear kind of dissipates a bit. And then you go, okay, all right, so here I am, like I'm an alien dropped in this body. I don't care what people think of me. I can feel all the kind of what I can do with this body. I know what my resources are. Even if it's like I've got a debt, That's the resource. That's what I do. I can deal with this. What's the game here? Game is to enjoy it. All right, I can do that. I can do that. Doesn't matter. I'll get some money from somewhere. It will work somehow or other. And with that kind of attitude, you then go. So you talk to the Tao, because the Tao is the dinner lady, if you like. It's present in all of that, in the money, in the flow of money, in the people that are spending the money, in the way that the money will come to you. All of it is the Tao. So you speak to the Tao in that. You go, hey, I really dig the way you've been playing this game. Like, yeah, I'm not coming to you as money. That's fun. But like, listen, I need money now. Come to me as money. It'll be fun. Just come as money, Tao. Come as money. Come as money. And the Tao will come to you as money. It will for sure. You'll be your somehow or other. Somebody will lend you a bit here. Somebody will give you a bit there. You'll get a money through from somebody you've forgotten that they owed you. You'll get a tax rebate, whatever. The things happen. I know this because people talk about it to me all the time. And you'll get through. And then suddenly the opportunity will arise and you'll realize that's why I had to go through that. It was for this to happen. And then everything turns around because the whole thing is predicated on yin and yang. It's not a straight line, this journey. It's a circle going round and round. You have difficult times and then you have easy times. Difficult, easy, difficult, easy. Don't attach to either because it will just roll and turn into the other. You stay back behind it will go, this is a buzz being alive. The difficult bit's making me stronger. The easy bit's making me more joyful and so on. You know, but you don't kind of like go, oh, no, not a difficult bit. You go, all right, it's the Tao. I love you. I love you. I'll learn whatever I have to. I grow through this. I open myself. You get to a beautiful bit. You go, right, finally, at last. Like you go, nice gift. It's like a nice, nice weather or whatever. Beautiful. Thank you. And I enjoy you to the most. I don't cling to you. I stay rolling with the whole thing because I know that eventually I'm dying. I'm out of here. I'm going to be dead. So it doesn't matter. I can't cling to anything eventually. It all gets taken away in the end. It's what I call the law of detraction. It all gets taken away in the end. So why stress, the Taoists call that invest in loss. Rather than invest in gaining, you invest in losing it all somewhere, like I've been explaining. And that's what brings it all back to you. You let go, it comes back.
Yeah, that was awesome. What I'm hearing you saying is even people who, are successful and maybe wealthy, famous, they still undergo maybe situations where they become bankrupt, where the company starts to decline.
I've done it myself, man. I've done it myself. I know, yeah, it's true. They can, yeah.
But the key is you say, not to hang your identity or your self-worth onto that and then bounce back, and you'll be able to bounce back quicker and stronger and richer for the experience. So I'm gaining a lot of comfort from that because obviously from where I'm sitting, you've led a fruitful, fantastic, adventurous, bountiful life and still continue to do so. You still have your own struggles in this regard to varying degrees. So as I say, I'm sure everyone listening can take comfort from that. I was just
but I don't struggle though. That's the thing. I don't struggle now. I don't struggle with life anymore. I let go and I just dance. I love it. Just love whatever's happening. That's the key. Love it. You just got to go. I love you. I love you. I love you. And the pain goes away, whatever it is. For real. That's magic. That's real magic.
Yeah, that's right. Struggle. That's kind of resistance in it. So it just locks the energy in, and you kind of manifesting more of the struggle, which is what we don't want. To that end, I'm wondering if you've got any techniques or kind of visualization. I know you mentioned spleen healing before. I don't know what you got planned for us, Doc, but I'm sure those watching live now, there's currently 12 viewers on. There'll be loads more catching the replay. So have you got some Barefoot Dr. Magic for us, please?
Yeah, but I didn't plan anything. I never plan anything. Yes. So this is completely extemporized. But so I'm making it up as I go along. The most important thing I think I could ever pass on to anybody, certainly the most important thing in my own life, after breathing, that is, because you've got to breathe, is that how I sit in my body. This comes from the Taoist boxing martial arts. You learn to first deliver a punch from your back. In other words, in our way of putting it, you put your back into it. Yeah. Because if you're just punching from the arm, it relies on having a very strong arm. But you punch from the back, your body weight comes in behind it. So the whole sort of technique is really learning how to bring your body weight in behind a kick, a punch, whatever. Likewise, if someone's coming at you, the way you yield to it or ward it off or block it or whatever, you do that from the back rather than from the front, because when you're in your back, you can withstand the oncoming pressure and so on. And then what that has the effect of doing, apart from making you kind of mechanically more efficient in a fight, and we're talking fight as metaphor, obviously, is that you are aware that you're sitting in your back as this kind of like neutral presence, watching what's going on. And the front part of you, you'll notice, oh, look, there was a bit of fear came up there in the front, but you're not afraid. Oh, look, it really looks mean, that guy. I don't know if you, it's horrible to see someone look so mean. This is really horrible. And you're watching your front self sort of say all this stuff and feel all this wobbly stuff, but you're not. You're solid as a rock back in your back. And you then learn to use this in everyday life. And this is the main thing that I teach everybody. I mean, my whole thing is teaching people how to do martial arts without actually having to learn the martial art. I mean, I'll teach it if you want it, but most people don't. But they do want the effects of it. So that's what I dedicated myself to in many ways, is sort of transmitting that state that you get from daily practice for decades and whatever to anyone. And this is the main thing, this thing of like, you learn to sit in your back. When you sit in your back, you're like, your back is, you're solid, you're still, you're strong. You're not vulnerable other than the kidneys and the back of the neck. So you feel quite safe in there. There's not a lot of activity going on in the back. So when you're in that environment, there's not a lot going on in your mind. You're just basically with clear consciousness. It's the hallowed state that people learn to meditate for and so on. In fact, it's what people get drunk for. It's what people take drugs for. It's what people go dancing for. It's what people pray for. It's the reason you do all that is because you want to feel pure consciousness, which is the Tao, God, whatever you want to call it. It's actually, in more technical terms, it's the subconscious mind, which is the rear part of the brain, which neuroscientists, the leading neuroscientists over the last 20 years or so, have been predicting or suggesting is the area that is now going to be developing in humans too, and that will increase our sort of psychic power, our intuitive powers, and so on. Because the subconscious knows everything. It's just the conscious mind that filters it down to what you can deal with, that you'll fit in your story. And so you start to become the big presence, and then all the stuff that goes on in your life that would normally be occupying your mind, that you would be part of, that you would think you were, the drama of being you, all of that's going on in the front of you. So the story about life is just what we do. We create stories about life. Like, the subtext would either be, life is a very beautiful place where people are lovely, and as long as I'm kind to people, they're kind to me, and overall I have an amazing ride of it. That's what it's here for. It's here to give us an amazing ride, and it's beautiful. Or I could have the subtext to the story, which would be, life's a very dangerous thing. People are dangerous. They're horrible. You can't trust them. They're going to do you over. And if you're not careful, you're going to end up crippled and messed up, and nothing's going to work, and then you die. So just bear with it as best you can. I mean, and everywhere in between. And if you,
sorry, Stephen, can I just stop you there? We've got a question coming from Robert Carpenter, and he's asking, I'm sure what a lot of people will be thinking, he's asked, what is the most simple method for getting into your back? I know you've got loads of little ninja moves for accessing that area. So could you share what's, a tip or two, please?
Yeah, well, imagine, concentrate on your breathing for a moment, Robert, and everybody. Concentrate on your breathing. Hello, Rob, by the way. Concentrate on your breathing, and that you normally feel it in the belly, in the chest, and you can feel it in the sides of the ribs. But now concentrate on breathing in the back. So just get a feeling of what's happening as you breathe in and out in your back, how the shoulder blades move further away from each other and back together, and so on. Just become aware of that. And you'll notice as you do that it inclines you to feel your kidney area, because that's at the root of all the movement of the breathing. And if you just kind of let yourself push your muscles back into the kidneys inside, so like you're giving them a little bit of a squash, that they like that because it makes them feel safe. They relax and they warm up. And when the kidneys warm up, it is what gives you your vitality, your will, your ability to flow, and the will to live, that is, and so on. So it's very important. The kidneys they must be relaxed for you to be healthy. So you're pushing back into the kidneys, and they feel warm. And above that, you're aware of the movement of the breath, and it feels very nice. And so you are inclined to let your mind join all that by kind of picking it up, or rather telling it to stand up and come out of the debating chamber in the front of the brain there, the Houses of Parliament, and walk to the back of the brain, to the back of the skull, and sit down at the back there with its back leaning up against the rear wall of the skull, and just sit there looking out at the world from there. So the eyes are just now like windows in the front of the front of the skull, but you're all the way back, and you're aware of you're in your back down below. You can feel your breathing in your back. You can feel the kidneys there underneath that. Then you become aware that the front part is like this big space with a residue of energetic movement, the tension in the belly that comes from the fear of the stories you're telling yourself in the forebrain, and all the noise of the conversation about what you should and shouldn't do, what you could and couldn't do, and all the rest of it in the front of the brain. All of that somehow stopped miraculously. It's just a residue of energy. And you can allow yourself to see the thoughts moving around, and you'll notice there are sort of processes and ideas and conversations occurring, but you're not having to engage in them. When you're back here, this is when you can ordain a reality that you want. So when you're sitting back here, this is when, free of all that noise, of all that clutching at anxiety or excitement that goes on in the front, free of the drama, here in pure consciousness as the sort of the mind of the Tao, this is when you say, okay, me as the mind of the Tao in Stephen form, I look to the Tao in everything now, and the Tao in all the money that's going around in the world. Now, I need however much it is of you, and I see it as little lights everywhere, little lights popping on. But this is the Tao inside the movement of money, and I say, hey, like, come to me in this much, this in this many multiples. This is what I need of you. Come, and I start seeing all the lights moving towards me, like from all around, everywhere, like in this flow of energy. These lights moving towards me and collecting, gathering around me, until I'm sort of sitting in what's like an ovoid sphere comprised of these lights that are all the Tao in the movement of money. And there I am in my sphere, my close sphere. I have all this money. And I just go, thank you, Tao. That's beautiful. It's so lovely to see you so up close as money, as the movement of money. It's beautiful. This is such a good dance. I love you. Please stick around with me. Like, let's play here for a bit and make something happen. I've got a brilliant idea that I want to do, blah, blah, blah. We're going to have real fun. This is going to be a good development of events for you, Tao, to enjoy yourself through. Let's do it. And it kind of agrees. I see it, goes, yes, darling, of course. That's the universal dinner lady. And it goes, yeah, of course, of course, of course. And once I feel that, I let my body feel it from the back. I'm not clutching at it because everything's fine anyway. I just embrace and embody this reality without any clutching to it. And then I let it go and carry on as I was. And then things just happen. And the money will flow. It will. It will flow in greater measure. It will come. It will not fail to.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Doc. That was a fantastic explanation and loads of insights there. Again, I hope everyone's taking notes and been playing along, as I'm sure they have been. I would like you to start talking about your latest amazing premium program called Amped Volume 1, which I know the Amped community has been raving about. And I've certainly been using it every day for the last 12 plus weeks with extraordinary and exponential results. And I want you to start talking about, the AMP program and how it can help people as well with money and all kinds of things. But I don't want to spoil, I don't want to put words into your mouth. So please, please start talking about AMPed. What is AMPed?
Amped. Well, Amped is an entity. It's sort of kind of that's come through me. It's all I can say. Initially there are 3 volumes. The first one you've been talking about. The second one, as you know, I just sent you the first 2 sessions from that of the press. I'm in the process of creating, of doing that, finishing it now. That will be done by the end of August, ready for September. And then I'll be moving on to volume 3. All the music's done. It's just that, it's the lyrics. That's the hard part, really.
Yeah.
That's the
I can imagine.
work. And each one, the AMP stands for something different. And the first one, it's affirmation, manifesting, procedure, and then electronically delivered. The second one is advanced magic powers, entrainment deluxe. So it's like a magic ritual. The third one's going to be about motivation. So basically, the trilogy is comprised of an 18-hour program that will first get you manifesting a complete change of life in volume 1, then gets you into the magician role and gives you this, it kind of amplifies your power quite remarkably. It's similar to what I was describing just before. It gives you that facility. And then the third one gives you a proper pumping kind of thrust into action, because that's what's required after all that, how to operate in the world with confidence and so on. The first volume, which is what we're talking about, is basically all of them are the same. They come in 6 sessions or episodes. Each session is like an album's length of music with which is electronic, cinematic, tech house, if you want to get really pedantic about it, I suppose. But my references are broad. I mean, I've been making music since I was 4 years old. I grew up in a musical family. My dad was a jazz drummer. My cousin was the guy that wrote Girl from Ipanema, Stan Getz. And, I've had a lot of big influences in music all the way through. And started doing the electronic thing in the early 80s. As soon as I came back from living with the Native Americans, so I lived with them for 4 years in New Mexico. And through all the drumming and the along with all the shamanistic skills that I learned doing all that, I had this sound. I could see it. I was given it in a vision on the mountain one day, and I've had a series of albums and different works of using healing frequencies. The first one was with Polygram, in fact, Polygram International, which I think is now part of Universal. That it was bizarre that they actually went for it. It's weird, mind-altering music, but it's developed and into something. I have living in Ibiza for 7 years. 7 years ago, I was doing a couple of club nights a week, and you get to really learn what goes on. And I've always worked in that clubby world as well, so getting the thing of how it all goes. And then so basically, AMPT developed out of 50 years, really. I mean, I'm a very slow developer, I guess. 50 years of experience of how to manipulate sound frequencies to move the energy around the body, as if I was doing acupuncture, because I used to do that. I'm trained as a doctor of that as well. So I'm using the frequencies like I would do acupuncture treatment on people to have various effects. Then I'm using subliminals, which is a thing that I've been developing over about 40 years. I've been schooled by about 3 or 4 experts in that field of how to create them, and devised my own kind of bouncing from side to side rhythmic kind of interlocking messages thing that works like a very subtle rhythmic carpet underneath, which also with the frequencies I've figured a way of you offset them slightly left and right, and it creates binaural beats in the midbrain, and that sort of thing. And then the top line narrative is something that, again, is developed since living with the Native Americans. You learn the shamanistic way of delivering speech with cadence changes and rhythmic changes and moving in and out, and then pauses, and that's, and then repetition, and that sort of technique of talking to yourself a bit. And then but the whole narrative is in the first person, aside from the introduction through a guest narrator, or whatever you call it, introducer, the master of ceremonies, a young girl called Anya, who's quite remarkable, because I wanted the purity of a child to introduce it all, because it makes you feel safe straight away. But from that moment on, as she kind of explains what's going to happen, my voice comes in as if it's your voice, and it conducts the whole internal narrative for you. And the repetition of ideas, of affirmations in volume 1, the amount of repetition is really, really kind of totally worked out through years and years and years of using them live and in recordings and in sessions one-to-one with people, in a hypnotherapeutic style. And then there is that hypnotherapeutic aspect to it, because I was trained in that as well. A way of using changes of tone of voice and so on. Then done a lot of radio. I used to have my own show in Ibiza, on Ibiza Global Radio. It wasn't my own. I was like co-hosted a show with Hoffa 66 for ages. And there you've got to learn to do something with your voice that's going to be cool. It's got to sound super cool all the time. Not mess up the track that you're talking over. Like it augments it, but also be theatrical, because then that's going to give it something very, very interesting. You can sort of mess around with it. So all of that in combination with some really beautiful, I shouldn't say it's my music, some lush, beautiful melodies and quite incredible, like 3-dimensional soundscapes, that keeps it really, I think, really engaging. You go through episode 1, it supplants your internal narrative with a new one about people, how you are with people and how people are with you, because that's the first thing that's kind of pretty much on everyone's mind. People talk about worrying about money. What you're dealing with is people, isn't it? Because the money's going to come from people. So it's all about that, your relationship with people, changing it. The second one is changing your relationship with the world of things and obligations and the world, really. Who am I? Where is this? What's my relationship with all this? The third one is changing your relationship with yourself, because the way we treat ourselves, by the way we talk to ourselves, completely determines what happens to us. So if I walk around telling myself off all the time for tripping over stuff or doing things wrong, firstly, I'll trip over things more and I'll do things wrong more. And secondly, I'll be making myself feel uncomfortable, like I'm my own enemy. Instead, this teaches you how to be lovely to yourself and supporting and encouraging, like a really good coach. And that way you kind of lead yourself better, because you've got, the troops are with you, so you do the better job of it. The fourth one is about changing your relationship with money. And the fifth one is changing your relationship with love. And that means loving you, loving life, loving a partner, loving friends, loving your children, your parents, loving it all, your relationship with love. And the sixth one is changing your relationship with the deep truth of the whole thing, like your life, your mortality, eternality, your place in the scheme of everything, changing the relationship with that. So, and the result of it is that after the 6 weeks, you definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, have experienced a genuine transformation of conditions in your life. First, you notice a change in your whole internal state. Your relationship with yourself changes quite dramatically. You feel it, and then it moves into the people that around you and everything that goes on, and money flows better, your health improves, and so on and so forth. I mean, this is my way of healing as many people as possible. Whereas when I'm just doing one-on-one, that was all I was doing. It wasn't all I was doing, but it was always this frustration of like, if only I could give this to everybody. This is the urge. I want everyone to get this feeling. I want everyone to be healed like this. Anyone who needs it anyway. So that's what's behind it all.
Yeah, brilliant. I've heard you explain or give an overview of AMT, several times, and each time you do so, I get more out of it because you explain it in a slightly different way. As I say, I've been using it for 12 weeks every day, and I've noticed many things, but the main one is my energy, my vibration is in more or less a perpetual state of sort of high vibration. I wake up in the morning, my eyes and my vibration feels high. Even after a full day's 12, 14-hour day, my energy still feels high. I used to worry about money beforehand when I had it. When I didn't have it, I was worried. When I did have it in the bank, I was worried that, the economy would collapse. Now, it's gone. And you're very generously and graciously have agreed to give the viewers and the members of the Facebook groups access to audio 4, which is about money, which is about healing at a cellular level as well, and it's about rewriting gently a narrative surrounding money. And what sort of transformations would you expect people to undergo listening to audio 4, for example?
Firstly, that tendency to worry about money will fall away quite dramatically. You'll be a bit surprised. You'll be thinking, what should I should be? Should I be worrying? I think I should, but I'm not. Oh no, I'm not going to bother. That because that's part of the message in there. So you stop worrying about it. Your feeling about money warms up a lot. It stops feeling quite so cold and distant. It starts really feeling like it's with you. You start feeling it with you. You feel like you're swimming in an ocean of it, and but you just can't help it. You just feel that and then you notice you've got enough. You just notice you've always got enough, and you keep getting bits more, and you'll be all right somehow. It will somehow work out. Uh, I mean, like, my post I picked up from London, and normally, those kind of things that you can see are just kind of circulars. Normally, I just throw them away without opening them. I brought them all back to Spain with me, and then there was one on the floor that I didn't throw away, and I don't know why I didn't throw it away. I just kept seeing, I must throw that away. I must throw that away, and I picked it up. So I wonder what's inside. I almost wasn't going to look. I opened it, and goodness knows why or how, it was €200 in cash. I thought, oh, thank you. That's very nice. Yeah. But the thing is, right, this is what's interesting. It also changes your attitude to what it's all about in terms of, rather than thinking of amassing an amount, you think of flow, just knowing that it flows through your life, and don't try and grasp onto it. Just let it flow, and it will support you. Because if you don't, I could open, and I know because I used to be like this, open the envelope and go, oh, €200, that's nice. Give it about half a second, and it'll go, oh, it's not enough really. €200. I could get that thing, but that's €400. Oh, shit. Why isn't it €400? That's what you do. If it's 50 grand, it'd be amazing when that 50 grand comes in, because then I'll be able to do them. The 50 grand comes in. Yeah, shit. It'd be much better if it was 500, though, wouldn't it? That's what happens when you're into amounts. But when it's flow, it doesn't matter if it's, because that 200 is going to go out in 5 minutes, because the bill's going to come in for that you weren't expecting, or this or whatever. Rather than go, I didn't want to spend that money on tax. It's like, let it go with good grace, wish it well, and it will go out and make friends in society and come back multiplied by all its friends, that money. That always give, okay, look, the country needs that money from me. They're going to use at least some of it for good things. So good, go enjoy that. And then that keeps the flow going, rather than shit, I just got that much. I don't want to pay, that thing. Let it roll easy. That it'll do that to you. And just, I think you'll just find you'll have more money.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Before I forget, for those who are members of the Facebook groups, either your group Amped or my group I co-run with Isabel, the Empower You Energy Healing Group, I've scheduled some posts to go live, and in that post you'll see the link to the stream only access to audio 4, the audio we've just been talking about. And then if anybody actually wants to invest as well, Amped, which I highly recommend, there's a link there as well. I just want to put some testimonials. I know there's rarely a day goes by there's not somebody, a member in the AMP group, extolling the virtues of AMP from the rooftops. And one member, Judy, recently posted about she's amped up each day and loving it. And another member saying amped is magic. And then Teresa said there isn't one track on the amped program that she doesn't absolutely love and really enjoy. She's seen it's an amazing creative achievement. Well done, Stephen. Lynn Stones, the lovely Lynn Stones, we both know. She said, I've only just started my AMP journey, maybe about a week ago with that. And already her family and friends are noticing how much more in tune she is with her own body and those around me. And she's saying, thank you so much. The rewards are amazing. Thank you so much for creating AMP. That's from Lynn. And I've made some notes of my own, if I may, just to do a recap on AMP. Let's see. So, like I say, you're getting 6 audio tracks with the expert technology meticulously crafted by your own fair hands, Doc, and with your ears and expertise, and all imbued with original music. And I bought many courses over the years. I've spent thousands, if I'm being honest. And quite often you get partway in and you kind of almost endure it. You think, well, I've paid all this money, so I'm going to stick with it. But with these tracks, Stephen, they're actually bloody enjoyable, and you find yourself singing the narrative throughout your day, and it becomes sort of embedded into your psyche. Brilliant. So with Audio 1, you see a change in your story about people and singing behind the mask, so to speak, who they really are at a deep level, and they see you as well. And you find, or I've found people who wouldn't normally speak to me or would be quite distant or vague, or suddenly, being wanting to talk and being animated and friendly and lovely, and vice versa. So that's audio one, and we're into audio two, which is changing your story about the world and the concepts surrounding manifesting, which really helped me to meet the way I view manifesting and detachment as well, which you talk about within the process. So I've had a massive shift in the last number of weeks following listening to Amped and how to manifest. Then into audio three, changing the story about yourself, which involves seeing yourself as beautiful and having lots more fun in everyday situations. And this is what I call dancing with your own spirit. I've been doing a lot of that lately. Then into audio four. Excuse me, this is the track everyone is getting free access to for the next 5 days. It rewires your story surrounding money and all the anxiety and crap so many of us will carry around. It blasts through the noise and the nonsense, leaving you more peaceful to find creative solutions and to attract more abundance, which isn't just money. Obviously, it's friendship, it's love, and so on, it's health. It'll also help you to heal on a cellular level as well, which I found amazing. I did a load of detoxing on the back of this particular audio track. Then audio five, it's changing your story about love, which I found quite fascinating and perhaps not what you'd expect, but also in a positive and liberating way. Audio six, wow, changing your story about life, death, and the universe. And this addresses the fear so many of us have about dying, which actually prevents you from living. You reframe all of this and program your subconscious to understand this from a higher spiritual perspective, freeing you up to go out and manifest your heart's true desires. And this is so powerful. In fact, the whole program is. And then there's the ebook, which is effectively the Amped manual, which you can refer to time and again. It details the work and accuracy which went into the making of Amped and the painstaking attention to detail, the countless hours, my goodness, you spent beta testing it to get it supreme. And the investment for this superb program was initially valued and we valued it worth $2,324. And to be quite honest, it's more than worth that. However, you wanted to make this available to as many people as possible. You made it an extremely generous investment of only $424, which is about £320. That's a saving of $2,900. You also give it a money back guarantee. You take all the risk out of the equation. So if you aren't entirely satisfied for whatever reason, within 7 days, just ping Evo, which is the doc's amazing assistant. She takes care of customer service on the website. She's a beautiful person. And shoot her a message, and she'll give you a full refund. There'll be no bad vibes, no questions asked.
It's not Evo, it's Whirly. Evo is self. It's Whirly.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks for the correction. Thank you. Cheers. My bad. So my main takeaway, having listened every day for 12 weeks, is I see my energy is so high, and that's where the magic of your life comes in, Doc. That's where new opportunities come to you. That's where adventure happens. That's where doing really cool things like I'm doing with you today happens. And it's only just begun, as you say. Each time you listen, it's exponential. Do you know why you think it's? Why do you think it's so exponential? And it totally is.
I meant to say actually what I didn't point out is that you get this it's like 50 minutes on average each track, as you're calling it, episode. You listen to it once a day for 7 days, then you move on to the next one. Ideally, that's what I've found working with the beta testing team that you need to really make it. It's the optimal amount. Everyone has different paces, but that works. You can trust that one. So 6 weeks later, you've gone through the process. But then if you repeat that again in any order, really, you don't have to do it in order anymore. But it would be good if you did. Just ran it all the way through. You can do it while you sleep, by the way. It really works well if you use it when you're sleeping. You can do it when you're walking to work, when you're doing stuff around, whatever, have it on while you're working. If you don't even listen to it consciously once you've done it through, it's the repetition, it's the sequences, because the way quantum mathematics works, if you get the right sequences and you repeat them, you know, with enough frequency, it generates exponential kind of effect. I wish I could explain that more eruditely, but I'm sorry, that's my limit right now. I hope that kind of work like an explanation somehow.
Yeah, it totally works. It's my first time round, it was great and magical, but the second time it's just taking things to a whole new level. And as I say, I stick the headphones on while I was doing some work and while I was writing adverts, and my energy is just going up and up. And I'm not doing anything other than listening and singing along. And some of these are my favourite tunes now. They really are. And you go from house music. There's a country flavour in there. There's swing. There's all kinds of influences that you bring in. So there's something for everybody. If you think, well, I don't necessarily listen to house music, that's okay.
It's not like house music. There's rock and roll in it. There's blues. There's jazz, classical, quite a lot of classical, modern classical. There's all sorts of stuff in there. A lot of Latin. Yeah, it's kind of got Tex-Mex. It's got the whole lot. It's all because that's me. I've got all those references, and just cool. But wait till you hear volume 2. Because I'm in the middle of finishing volume 2, and it's like, oh, it's amazing. It's amazing, seriously. Because you get confidence, volume 1 works, great. Okay, come on, let's go. And then it builds, it's really exciting. I'm so excited.
I'm going to be all over volume 2 like a rush today. You're very, very kindly, and I'm so excited, sent some of it to me last night. So as I say, get yourself into the AMPed or the Empower You Energy Healing groups. Those links will be live now. Have yourself a listen to volume audio 4. There's a link there if you want to purchase it. It's all love. Can't recommend it highly enough. And if that wasn't enough, in the coming days, the doc and I are going to be announcing details how you can win a copy of AMPed Volume 1 in its entirety. And the second prize will be a 1-hour session 101 on Skype or Zoom with me. As an energy healer, I can help people who are feeling stuck in their lives. Maybe you've got chronic pain or autoimmune disease or all kinds of things. I can really help. I've got a lot of experience, and I can usually connect in with you and work with you and just move some energy and help you move forward in your life. And that is my contribution. I'm just wondering if you have any final thoughts, Doc, any last words?
I do, but it's about you, actually. I noticed that sitting here, letting myself when I wasn't talking, just listening to you talking, I felt myself tearing up a bit in a beautiful way, like feeling, such a feeling of love and warmth, and just you are such a lovely man, and listening to you talking, the energy that you transmit is so kind and beautiful and nurturing, genuinely and supportive of your fellows. And that's what I was feeling, that coming from you. You're really beautiful. I have tears coming out, and that is from you. That is your quality. I just wanted to say that to you.
Wow, thank you so much. I'm very touched coming from you as well. Thank you so much. I want to thank all the viewers. We've had a good dozen people through us throughout the entire broadcast, which is about an hour now. As I say, get into the Facebook groups, get listening, post your feedback, and in the coming days we'll be announcing more goodies. I just want to say thank you to Stephen, Barefoot Doctor, for an amazing guest you are. Blessed to have you, blessed to call you a friend, and I will talk to you all soon. So from me, bye for now, and from the Doc.
Bye for now.
Okay, talk to you all soon.
Yeah.